Alright, we're here for match one of our Kaladesh draft. Sounds great, so we're gonna keep it. Most hands that have two lands prism or keeps, I think. Uh, and we've got an actual play. I mean, obviously drawing a land there was bad, but and this could be a tough matchup. This could be a deck that is similar to ours with a better end game. Drawing two lands is pretty awful, but we're gonna have to draw them at some point. So as long as we don't miss a ton of drops, like I could probably miss again next turn, and that'd be all right. Anything too far past there is we're gonna be in trouble though. Stack for two, pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna get the prism into play. No reason to believe that holding up Welding Sparks is gonna do anything too good for us. So we've drawn a really high concentration of land so far, and that is quite unfortunate. And Oval Chase Daredevil is pretty good here. It's gonna be hard to race, and that's what Daredevil incentivizes you to do, or to just play a creature that's bigger than it, which we're currently not capable of doing. I'm not gonna Sparks it though. The thing is, I could Sparks it and attack, but then he could just play almost anything and shut down the Seed Sculptor and get it back. So I think I'm just gonna probably take 4. I'm gonna put a counter on it. Sometimes if you have Decoction Module, there's actually like one of the like decent endgame engines is just to have a cheap Fabricate guy and Decoction Module. I've done that like just tons of times. And if that's my end game, I'll normally just make the servo even the first time unless I have a reason not to. But especially against a black deck that's clearly has an artifact sub theme, there's a reasonable chance he just has Foundry Screecher. This guy I probably am going to be okay with Welding Sparksing. I might block first. Maybe have the potential to get a trick out of him too, which is kind of a blowout if that happens. Wild Wander is nice, but I don't think that I want to have my mana tapped when I block the Malfist squad, so I'm just gonna pass with the intention of double blocking Malfist squad and then having Sparks as a blowout if he has something. I mean, he could also just like have a removal spell or whatever. And all right, just gonna take 4. I'm gonna Sparks the Malfist squad on end step if he doesn't have something too good. That is something pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna have to untap. I think, man, Sparksing that Malfist squad is kind of gross here, but I think I still am just gonna do it. The thing is, I'd have to find 2 more artifacts to get into play before I could kill the Gear Seeker with the Sparks. Seed Sculptor's not bad. I'm going to play Wild Wanderer and Seed Sculptor this turn. And I'm going to put the counter on the High Spire Artisan. Definitely would like to use this ability. I'll just get the planes. And we'll get Seed Sculptor. And put the counter on the Artisan. Now the Artisan can block the Daredevil. But if he just uses mana on this for 3 turns, we're going to have to find something. So that'll be one turn of him using his men on that. This attack makes actual just no sense at all. There's no one blue trick. Oh, I guess he could have a... I mean, I think there's only a green and white trick, so... Skygate. Well, that puts me only one artifact away. So, I'm gonna... from being able to Welding Sparks, I'm just gonna hit him with everything. I am currently winning this race, the way it sits. So, and if he does not do this, I'm gonna chump block. Wait, no, I'm not winning the race. That sucks. I am 2 points short of winning the race. Alright, well, this is actually great for me, because now I can chump block the stupid... Yeah, I guess I missed that too. Foundry Screecher is not doing much. I'm going to chump block Gear Seeker if he attacks. Because I have the wildest dreams here, so if I do find an artifact, I can still sparks the Gear Seeker, which is the only real problem that I'm having right now. Land is just really, really bad. Let's see, as far as attacks go, I definitely need to be able to block the Screecher and the Malphus squad. So that means leaving up High Spire Artisan. I guess I'm just going to attack with the Wild Wanderer. If he wants to trade either of his guys for that, I'm actually ecstatic about that. I doubt that he's going to want to do that. But if he does, I'd be very happy with that. Because I have this Wildest Dreams. Trading off is just great for me when I have Wildest Dreams. Drawing one of my Pyro Helixes would be nice here. If he's just going to chump, I'm fine with that too. I mean, clearly we're dead to anything because the Gear Seeker is just such a huge beating on this board, and we didn't happen to find an answer to it. If we draw Prism, I don't... What? Alright, well, I'm going to block the Foundry Screecher with the High Spire Artisan. I guess he could have Subtle Strike. That's fine with me. Or he could just be tossing this guy away. He could have Die Young, too. I guess he's just throwing away the Screecher. Alright, well, we need to draw something to deal with Gear Seeker. Accomplished Automaton. Well, that's an artifact. It's too expensive, though. So, unfortunately, we are just dead to him activating Gear Seeker. I'm trying to think if there's any way that we could, like, trick him into not activating the Gear Seeker. I don't know what would ever keep him from activating that, and I don't think it's worth showing him another card. So I'm just gonna concede this game. Sometimes in this spot, you can get some wins or whatever, but I don't usually normally if I have to show them a card to get a tiny bit of equity, I don't really do that. So Gear Seeker is gonna be what this matchup is about in all likelihood. And really our only ways to deal with it are to is to get 3 artifacts in play and then sparks it twice. Or I guess there is some scenarios where we could harness lightning it. And then we do have the single revoke. So I guess we have a few things. It's still just the best card against our deck out of everything that we saw and everything that I would expect to see from him. But there's nothing in the board that helps us with that. I'm not going to board in Takedown against Foundry Screecher. If I see a bunch of Foundry Screechers, then I will. But especially from what I saw from him the last game, just his play style, it seemed like he was he was willing to bluff attack a lot. And if he's going to bluff, I'm going to call the bluffs every time. So, yeah, I think this is still our best configuration. Pyrohelix is great here. But I'm just going to submit. All right, this hand's good. Easy keep. These days in Limited, most of the time, if you have a reasonable mix of lands and spells, you just keep. Because mana, especially in Kaladesh Limited, Mana Flood is everything. If one player floods out, they just lose almost every game. And the same thing with Mana Screw. If one player gets Mana Screwed, they're just incredibly likely to lose. He's got a Crane. Crane's a good card. Looks like he missed. It's pretty lucky for us. I'm definitely going to lead with the Monitor. I think we do need to be pressuring his life total. Just because he has Gear Seeker and we don't have a ton of ways to deal with it. Hopefully doesn't have that many of them. Some of these, I've had some decks that were similar to this that just had 4 Gear Seekers in them and was cast them on turn 4. I guess. Alright. Looks like he has no turn 3 play, which is good for us, certainly. I'm going to attack with the Monitor. Well, I can basically rule out Essence Extraction as a possible card. He almost certainly would Essence Extraction that this turn if he had the capability. Gonna get Plains. No reason not to get Plains. Got plenty of mana of our 2 main colors. Malphite Squad that's actually quite nice for us because of the Pyrohelix. Let's continue taking 1. Not a big deal. So I can either cast the Wayward Giant or 2 of my other spells. Casting the Pyrohelix gets me in for 2 extra damage this turn, but casting the Wayward Giant likely gets me in for 4 damage this turn. Or this gets... So, sorry, Pyrohelix gets me in for 3 extra damage this turn. Because then I can attack with the Wild Wanderer. Whereas if I cast the Wayward Giant, then I can give the Monitor Menace. And then attack with the Wayward Giant on the following turn. I think I'm going to play the Wayward Giant. It's totally possible that this is that it'd be better to just play the Pyrohelix now, but also if I draw a land, I can play all 3 of my spells next turn, which is not bad. It's not a huge deal whether I play them all next turn or whether I take a turn off. Well, now I'm definitely wishing that I had just picked off the Malfist squad when I had the chance. Hopefully I can still take down the Marauder. Between blocking with High Spire Artisan and then Pyrohelixing it. The Prism is worth playing if I draw a land. If I don't draw a land, I think I want to play High Spire Artisan. Alright, I'm going to play Prism. Cub's not bad either. So I'm going to Pyrohelix, 1 to the Malfist squad, 1 to my opponent. And then I think I'm playing Cub this turn. Let's see, what are his blocks? His blocks, he has no good blocks. He might have Select. The fact that he might have Select means that I definitely don't want to cast the Seed Sculptor pre-combat. So we're just going to attack for a lot. If he has Select, he'll probably select the Giant. Okay. As far as I know, yeah, there's no sweepers in blue-black. So I'm fine with just playing the Cub here. And this Aetherborn Marauder is only going to do so much. He's gonna have to have better than an Aetherborn Marauder to get back into this game. Tidy Conclusions, probably still not enough. Gear Seeker. Let's see, if he has Gear Seeker, that might be good enough. Because then he can go block, gain 3 up to 9, and take 7 with the Seed Sculptor. And attack here is pretty aggressive. This is Tidy Conclusions. Tidy Conclusions loses a Seed Sculptor. I don't know what 5-drop you could have. It's got to be some kind of rare. Okay, so I'll eliminate the competition. Also loses the Seed Sculptor. So I'm just gonna cast this right away. Just get this over with. I mean, his line of play makes a ton of sense with if eliminate the competition is the card in his hand, because there's no reason not to attack with the Marauder. I mean, I'm sure that he understood that that was not a particularly likely line of play to work. Our opponent's deck seems good here. the sabotage is actually like the sabotage has some merit. If he has eliminate the competition, he's probably got a bunch of Maulfist squads and like weapon craft enthusiasts, just a bunch of fabricate. So blowing them out with sabotage is pretty nice. Our removal actually lines up really nicely against his deck. Between the Pyro Helixes, the Furious Reprisal, and Sparks is going to have plenty of reasonable targets, and then Revoke hits Gear Seeker Serpent. I think we're just going to run it as is. I don't think this is quite worth it. I'd have to cut like probably something from the top end, or like an actual creature. I'd probably have to cut like Seed Sculptor or something, because I can't cut the Skygate if I'm going to play the Sabotage, because that's already the limiting factor of the Sabotage, that I don't have enough artifacts. So I can't cut an artifact to bring it in. And I think all the fatties are just good. This hand's pretty clear mulligan. We're like 70% to hit a land, but we're like 20% to hit a green land. I mean, we're like 40% to hit a green land, maybe even a little better, but we have to hit a green land and then another land and then yet another land before I'd be happy about keeping this. So, well, this is pretty bad, but we're just going to have to run off lands. Can't mulligan to 5. Mulliganing to 5 when you have multiple 2-drops in one land is just wrong. So, got to keep this. Scrying a 7-drop to the bottom is pretty awesome. Well, hopefully we don't get mana screwed. Again, we're about 70% to hit a land in the top 2. And turn 2 Cub. I mean, on the draw it's worse, but into Seed Sculptor, there's a decent chance that this guy gets to get in. And we just run 2 lands off the top, which is pretty nice. So, hopefully he doesn't have a 3-power creature this turn. That is pretty great. That works out really splendidly for me. Prism's not a bad draw. Can help you hit lands. If this was any other situation other than Cub into a 2/3, I would play Well Fast Monitor to be mana efficient. But the thing about Cub is, it's just such a beating once it hits you. Like, it's basically already a 4/4 now. Or he's just chump blocking. Yeah, so and the Seed Sculptor, I don't really care that much about being a 2/3, because we're just hopefully going to be able to just ride this Cub to victory. And we do have, like, good, solid follow-up to it. Him having Daredevil there is pretty good for him. If I don't draw a land, I might just play Prism, because drawing lands is so key for me. Ooh, Harness Lightning, though. Man. Well, this is a tough spot. Let's see. So there's 17 lands in the deck. So there's 14 left in my library. So I'm a small dog to hit a land off the Prism. If I do hit a land off of the Prism, it's really, really good for me. It would be very nice to cast his Gear Hulk on turn 5. But if I brick off, that's really bad. So I think I'm just going to fire off Harness Lightning on the Daredevil. Again, in most situations, I would never Harness Lightning a Daredevil like this. But the fact is, the Cub is going to get in now. and then the Cub is going to be able to get up to a 5/5, which blanks the Daredevil in the future. And hit for 5. Yeah, if the top card of my deck is a land, I'm going to be pretty sad that I didn't decide to go with the Prism, but I do think it was the right call. It would have been really good for me if I prismed into a land, but it also would have been really bad for me had I not, if anything other than that happened. Well, he just keeps playing creatures that are like, oh, he decided to make a servo. Oh, I guess it does get back the Daredevil. And he's not gonna attack, which makes sense. Now I think I'm gonna play the Prism. I really do need to hit lands. I need to get this Gear Hulk online. And I did hit a land, which is pretty nice. Just gonna pass the turn. It's gonna be hard for him to attack here unless he can kill the Cub. And that's pretty awesome for him. I guess he didn't kill the Cub. That's quite a bit better than killing the Cub. Yep, just gonna take here. If I had a land and get to play Gear Hulk, which I did, this really gets me right back into it. I'm gonna go 1 counter on the Gear Hulk, 2 on the Seed Sculptor, and 1 on the Servo. Maybe 3 on the Seed Sculptor is better. I'm gonna go 3 on the Seed Sculptor instead of 1 on the Servo. Why can I not do this? Alright, there we go. Yeah, I think this is the best way to distribute this. And I'm going to attack with the Seed Sculptor as well. He's going to chump. Okay. I'm fine with that. I definitely would prefer that he chump in that spot. I mean, like, I get that it's my card or whatever, but that doesn't really matter as to the board state now. Alright, that's no big deal. It's also not doing too much. And I will be hitting with the Gear Hulk this turn. I don't think the Seed Sculptor getting in is very good. If the Seed Sculptor gets in, I guess he can block with just these 2 on the Gear Hulk. And then I'm just trading it for this guy. So I think the options are attack with both or attack with neither. And I think I want to attack with both. Just because I do have a strong follow-up. So if I attack with both, he probably goes block, block, maybe block. Or what are the other options? So he could go block, block, and then maybe block. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so I think that the best blocks for him is to put the Blade Master and the Aetherborn in front of the Gear Hulk, and then depending on whether or not he has an artifact, just chump the Seed Sculptor. The Daredevil doesn't really factor in any kind of positive way for him, other than just like chump block equity. So I definitely don't want to attack with Servo for the aforementioned reason, where the Daredevil doesn't really factor in other than chump block equity. I mean, so the Daredevil can block with the Blade Master on the Seed Sculptor. This is a block that I'm very happy about. This Aetherborn is just chump blocking. What is it? That doesn't make any sense. He's going to lose all his creatures for the Gear Hulk, and I'm going to still have the Seed Sculptor in play. I don't. Yeah, that block doesn't seem very good to me. I'm going to play the Prowler over the either of the Menace guys. It's just bigger. This guy can attack in a... I guess he can't play Gear Seeker, really. You can't play Gear Seeker Plus, so... This is all fine. Didn't have an artifact for the Daredevil, which makes me pretty happy. Sparksing this guy seems okay. Also not sparksing it seems okay. Yeah, I'm gonna sparks. Like I said, I don't... There's no real sweeper that he could have. Even the mythic rare whale or whatever is... It's not gonna get him out of this. So I'm just gonna play the monitor. Pass the turn. This just increases the number of answers that he needs by a lot. And it looks like he's just packing it in. Yep. Alright, so one match won. And in large part due to our mythic uncommon into our actual mythic busted rare. It's one of the actual best cards in the set. Certainly both of those cards had a big impact on it. So we'll be back for round 2.